allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to convene the 9 o'clock a.m. March 26, 2026 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors. We will start off with a roll call of members and secretary.
White,
Yes.
Mendine,
Yes.
Dietrich,
Here.
and Robin Dietrich, Henry County Auditor.
Thank you. Next motion being item number 3 on the agenda. It's the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of the board minutes and approval of financial claims for payment. I'd entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, but have not looked at the claims yet, so.
Okay, a second on the approval of the board minutes.
I do have a packet.
Okay.
Just haven't looked, had a chance to look at
Okay.
it.
So it was motioned and approved for the minutes.
And, with the understanding that there's no, problems with the claims, that'd be approved also.
Yeah.
And that, because we can do that on the back of our claim sheet.
Steve, you good with that?
Yeah, that, I don't think we really need a motion for that. I think, consent agenda is really a consent agenda where we approve everything.
Okay, but, yeah, I'm asking.
Except in this case,
Case the minutes.
Mark made a motion,
Yeah.
basically separating out the two
Because I
items.
have not looked at it, so I can't approve them.
So this vote is, or this motion is just a motion to approve only the minutes.
That having been made and seconded, everybody in favor of the minutes only, indicate by aye.
I,
Aye. That motion did pass. We'll move back to the financial claims later then.
That'll give Mark a chance to look at it, sure.
So, moving to number 4, unfinished business. We need, what it says is final discussion and action to adopt a policy relating to requests for information relating to the fees to offset costs. Let's open that up for discussion. I know I would like to get a legal opinion on how that would be put into play with existing requests that are already in the chute, if you will.
For those requests that have already come to us, we have not quoted them any prices. And we're already in the process of doing their request. I don't think at this point it'd be proper to go ahead and assess them the charges. This would be for going forward on open records request. That's what I'd recommend.
Yeah,
Now,
I
some
would
requesters, we did make aware that there would be fees, possible fees. So on those, still request those fees.
Yeah, and I would suggest that, if we can move forward, we can begin this one in April. So we have a timeline to work with. Because we already have, some feedback from IPID. Right, are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Which gets back to previous discussion from the public input and the community. But what you see on the board right there, on the monitor, is what we've all discussed, generally speaking, fees.
Okay, is ISAC giving you some information on
Yeah.
this issue? Okay.
Yeah, we have gotten a little bit, and Gunner had pulled this from Buchanan County, is that right?
I do, yeah,
Yeah,
this
so
is more from
other
Buchanan
counties
County.
that are in the process of working with that, and we talked to the ICIT folks as well, so they're encouraging us of having a policy as well.
Yes, we definitely want to have one, and we have a policy that's similar to many others,
Yeah,
and we're in better standing if we ever get challenged on it, of course. So,
exactly.
Mark, is there any input?
no, I agree with everything that's been said. I have no problems at all.
Okay. No further discussion on it. I think we need to put it into place. All the figures filled in as far as hourly rates per departments, hardware needs, everything of that nature seems sufficient?
I think so. I think Steve created his $45 an hour fee.
Yes,
That
that's for the attorneys.
seemed logical, and Robin had given us a $42 an hour fee, and Gunner came back with 45, so I think those are all in line, as well as the copy fees that we had talked about, or a flash drive. So I think, again, everything seems to be a reasonable cost that's been input from all the parties that are engaged in this.
And it would be put into place from today moving forward then,
1 April.
1 April.
I think that's a
Make
more
it
finite
effective.
timeline that we can work with.
Any further discussion? If not, we will entertain a motion to adopt this policy as outlined on the electronic board now.
Make that motion that we approve it.
I second it.
Okay. Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor of adopting the public records request policy effective April 1, indicate by aye.
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 Aye. Motion did move. That will be our policy. We'll move forward with that. So,
Just to follow up on that policy a little bit, Gunner is gonna work with our folks at Solutions and get that put on the website, so it's readily available to everyone. I mean, you can log in and pick that up, download a PDF format probably of some sort, so they can fill it in and then submit that. I think some follow-up discussion needs to come into play here at some point, where who's responsible for gathering all of these FOIA requests and who's gonna facilitate.
that is under
So-
item number B here.
Yep.
Discussion and action to determine and designate a central contact person or a point of contact for filing requests for information materials. There's been some discussion that the attorney's office serve as a central, county central location and get disseminated out from there, or a department head for each department serve as the contact person for that, and then designate a county-wide department, or a county-wide depository, if you will, for information. So, I'd like to have discussion on that, see what everybody's thoughts are.
Yeah, lots of thoughts on that. Steve, are these are public information requests, so they can be published on the website as well, right, from a reference standpoint?
And
If that would be our repository, say,
if,
give an icon.
oh, if we already have
Yeah.
material on our website
No,
and
if,
somebody requests those records, what are,
if we create an icon on our homepage that says, this is the repository for all Freedom of Information requests, is there any reason that if I submit one,
there's no reason that we
because
couldn't
it's all
have that.
public, right?
Yes, it's all public,
So,
so, yeah, there's no reason. we
So there's an
couldn't.
opportunity for us to do that instead of,
And-
in following through.
And then, Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I just wanna remind everybody, open records requests go to the custodian of those records. That's who you send your open records request to. So if you're requesting an open record from the treasurer's office, or from the treasurer's office, that request should go to the treasurer's office. She's the custodian of the treasurer's records. Same with the recorder's office. Same with the sheriff's office. The sheriff's been doing this for years, handling this responsibility. His department answers their open records request. Ideally, each department will answer the request, gather the documents, because the county attorney doesn't have the documents. We only have county attorney documents. We don't have all the documents for the county. Ideally, once that custodian gathers the records, and each office should have somebody who's familiar with the Open Records Act and knows what documents can be held, what can't be held. There's always gonna be some that might be questionable. Those are the only ones that should be sent to the county attorney's office for review. So once the department gets a request, gathers all the records, they look at it, they decide, okay, these can go, these clearly can't go. And on some of those, if they don't feel comfortable saying these clearly can't go, they also could ask for the county attorney's office and give them an opinion on that. And so then only only requests that come to the county attorney's office would be for county attorney's records, otherwise we're reviewing other offices' requests. Hopefully with that groundwork, we can have some more discussion.
Is that Iowa code in your legal opinion, or is that just the way you'd like to see it?
That is the model I've seen many other counties use, that is the most practical model. The code itself says the request goes to the custodian of the records. So that's in the code. And again, since we have independent elected offices here, each one of those is their own custodian of their records.
And then if we have a request that transcends 3 or 4 offices,
Then we should coordinate with each other, because we've had a couple.
because we don't need 5 requests, we just need to coordinate
Right.
together. Okay.
And if one office gets a request and they see that the request has, okay, some of these are records from my office, but some are gonna come from another office, they should just share that request with the other office, and the 2 offices together can fulfill the request.
And I will ask a question, if there would be a request received, and there would be the legal beagle type of question, what does this mean? What is that? Break that down, tell me. The attorney's office would be available for consultation on something like that. What does this actually mean?
If an office received a request and they had trouble understanding it, or they weren't clear on what is being requested, certainly they give us a call, contact us, we'd advise them.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject?
Certainly. Yeah.
So, for years before I was even sheriff, we received FOIA requests regularly for an accident or, an investigation or whatever. We have always developed that material that they're requesting. We look at chapter 20, 21, 22, and we determine what we feel is stuff that is public record and what is not. If in doubt, we've always consulted with the county attorney, and quite frankly, whenever we have that data prepared, we send it to the county attorney's office for a final review and a legal opinion to make sure we're right or we're wrong. And they've always given us positive feedback to say, yep, that all looks good, or hey, everything looks good except for this. We've always had that relationship, clear back to when Mike Reapy was the county attorney, and it's always been that process.
Yep.
And then they send it back to us and say, everything looks good, we send it out and invoice them appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
No, I think that's good, but I also think that it should be a uniform process countywide.
Okay.
What you're doing is working fine. I just would like to think there would be a uniformity in putting
For all
that together for all offices. to
Seems
do that.
logical.
And
Yeah.
rather than hit and miss, and I don't know,
I do know, Mr. Chairman, that in the course of the FOIA requests for our offices specific to a ongoing litigation that we're in, IPIB interjected with that outside counsel that I've had, and said that some of our fees were right on and standard throughout the state, and some of our fees were egregious, so we had to change our fee structure for that. And I'd be happy to share that with anybody that wants to know, so that we're all on target there too. Yeah, I don't know those numbers right off the top of my head. I know one of them was copy fees. We were charging like 25 cents a copy, and they said that was ridiculously high. So I think we're charging like, first so many pages is X number of dollars, and then we charge like 3 or 5 cents per page after that. Thank you.
yeah, and that's why I'm talking about the uniformity. I
Yes.
mean, if one department is trying to charge a nickel per page, it doesn't look very good if another department's trying to do a dime or a quarter.
Correct.
There needs to be that uniformity in there.
I know my gals in the civil office would be happy to share all of our fees that IPIB recommended and we adopted a year and a half ago through those FOIA requests then.
And Mr. Chairman, you're right, we need a countywide policy that gives the framework that every department then can follow and use. That's,
I guess as current chairman of the board of supervisors, if we would get one, I wouldn't be opposed to saying that I would be the contact person for the Board of Supervisors, as I'm chairman. You know, next year it'll pass on to whoever, I mean, it rotates around, that type thing, but the department heads, I think we need to determine or come to an agreement that the department head is the person that needs to do it for that individual department. Then who is gonna be the central collection point, you know? If there's multiple, you know, if Jake has something, the sheriff's office has something, and the recorder has something, who's gonna serve as that collection point? That's a discussion we need to have here.
It'll again require the offices to coordinate together. A few phone calls between the elected officials, I think could solve any problems like that come up. Just communication, making everybody aware, look, this is the request that we have, these are the departments involved.
Does that work for everybody?
I would interject that, we have a discussion, or you, Mr. Chairman, have with the sheriff to get the fees that are been agreed upon. And, the next week, we could, have it written down and have a policy presented to vote on.
Put a draft policy together, yes.
So, yeah, with, all of that discussion, we've already adopted this policy which has fees, okay? If we wanna amend that.
Fees.
Yeah, correct. If
Right.
we wanna amend that, we can do that next week, however, if we wanna.
If we
develop a
need to,
process,
yes.
Yeah, if we wanna develop, yeah, we need to develop a process here that moves forward, so. If you guys wanna work on that, that'd be great, but we voted on this one, so this one is set until we amend it.
Okay, I'll be in touch
Right,
with the
right,
sheriff's
those
office
fees are set right now.
and get that kind of work underway, so. Anything further on that topic?
We just need to work together with Gunner to make sure that process is posted at some point and distributed. And Brad, sorry, Brad.
Okay. We talked about that, B2, department heads, for each department, I'll take that on, we'll get that worked out, so. Number C, or letter C, status of existing requests for information. Does anybody know what the status of the existing ones are right now?
I can answer that I completed the attorney review on 2 of them this week. Well, one last week, one this week. For the original open records request from Ms. Patton, and then one that I thought was gonna be simple and not take any time at all was the one from Mr. Lichty. I only wanted emails for like a week and a half period. It still took me almost 2 hours to go through those emails. And it was a waste of time, because if somebody else had gone through it, they would have seen, okay, this clearly can be released, this clearly can be released, would have saved a lot of time. So we'll have to work on how the stuff comes to the county attorney's office too.
And you completed the big one with this K-Mitch or whatever.
That was in progress.
Oh, it's in progress.
Oh, that's the one we're gonna have issues with.
And that relates back to 6,200 pages or some
Yes.
large number.
Yes,
Is going forward, and there's an IPIP concern over that with the
Yes.
timeline.
Yes.
You wanna address timelines here, just briefly? We have a 10 to 20 day window, is that correct?
we have a 14-day window to respond,
And we've obviously been,
and we're 7 days into it, so I will be talking to you about that.
but when a FOIA request comes in, typically it's 10 to 20 days to respond.
Right, because most FOIA requests
They're
just
not that large.
want, okay, I need a little bit of information here, and a lot of times we answer quick. Sheriff's Department, boom, they'll get one and turn it out within 24 hours or less. I've seen it happen that fast. A couple of the other offices, they'll call me, look, I got a record, they want just this record, it's like one record. Send it, it's good to go. So a lot of those we can do real quick.
Okay, thank you.
It's just we've been getting some, that one in particular is humongous.
It is.
I don't know if that's the proper word to use, but
Well, it goes back to the discussion though, at some point, there's an opportunity cost here, so if we're spending 50 hours on a Freedom of Information request, which we all support, I know, but it still takes opportunity from other areas. So recouping those costs. If we have to reach out to somebody to assist at some point, at least we're recouping those costs. Anything else on that, Chad?
Oh, and by the way, on both those, I did not ask for any fees from the requesters.
So again, we just talked about the first of April being that starting point, so I think we have a finite time and place now that we can work with. So I think everybody would support that. I just didn't want to commit prior to hearing from this IPIP situation, which I realized coming down the pipe, so.
Yes, I'll have a discussion on that.
Mark, anything else? Steve, anything else on that issue?
No.
Okay. Gonna move to 4D Delta, which is budget related. Want to have a discussion and action on requests for financial support and suggested documentation to memorialize the agreements for contracts made, such as a 2080 agreement with various entities around the community that have requested financial monies, financial assistances, that type of thing. So first one on that, I think there's some templates made from maybe Blackhawk County on the agreements. Is that correct? Agreements made with these entities.
I believe, I thought I had given you some samples, right? Some sample agreements,
I don't know if you give me,
or sent them.
I
I
mean,
thought I sent
We
them.
talked about it. I don't know if we've actually seen them, but
Okay.
the secretary, Rob Sands had sent us a link to his
Right.
decision. I believe that was Blackhawk County. I think that's the only one I'm familiar with.
And so
I
we,
knew there was
we
some
just
Blackhawk
pull
County.
that one off again, and that's what we should use as a template for it.
Okay. Should that come from us, or should it come from the entity requesting the dollars?
I think it should be our form,
Okay, so it's standardized?
right? And that way we ask for the information we want.
and then we would have to record that then with the Secretary of State if it was a 2080 agreement and everything
Yes.
of that nature.
Yes,
Go through that steps involved there.
just pretty simple steps.
And again, I guess again, the reason for doing this is because Rob Sands has said that if we're gonna have donations to various entities within the county, we need to have documentation to support that. And these 2080 agreements really tie us back to that whole agreement.
We have to be able to show that there's a public
Public.
benefit, and that's why we need this documentation and have to set certain standards. Because it's still the law here in Iowa that you guys cannot just give money away.
Good
Which is
explanation.
probably
I
a
knew
good-
you'd
which
have
is probably a
the
good
right
thing.
words. Perfect. The only one I would question in this is maybe Henry County Fair, since we're required by Iowa code to donate to fairs. Anything above and beyond what we're requested to do by Iowa code is probably something we need to look at, but that one is for sure is covered with Iowa code.
Let's start at the top of the list there, letter number A, or letter number, everybody got what I said, all right? Letter A, Old Thrashers, every year they request financial support for their entity. I know that goes towards, some advertising of local, museums, visitation, tourism of our counties and everything like that. We need to figure out the amount that we are able or willing to give to them.
What was the request, 20,000?
20,000.
Which has been
$20,000.
consistent. So Rachel and I have talked about this just a little bit. What I've tried to do here is substantiate what that dollar value does for us from the community. So if you look at the big picture of things here, we're investing those dollars. There is a payback to the community, and it's really hard right now to get that exact number, but because we have a local option sales tax, everybody that comes into this county pays a local option sales tax, which adds up pretty substantially. The city also has a hotel motel tax, which adds up pretty quickly as well, and then all of the revenue from rental and those types of things. So the community is gathering money and revenue is being made through that. We just need to do a better job of trying to define that so we know what the payback is. But I'm sure there's a payback, I just don't know exactly what the dollar is, but from what I've seen so far, it exceeds the $20,000. Mark, you're shaking your head.
Well, we did not get any actual hard dollars this year, but in the past, we have gotten dollars, and we could pick whatever factor you wanted to use. You could use from $3 million to $7 million is what the payback is, as I remember from years ago. So I think our $20,000 is very easily spent.
And I know in the past that part of the requirement is that they mention other museums in the literature that is disseminated out to the public. And he's provided, Terry McWilliams has provided information of the coverage of that information going all over the state of Iowa and the tri-state area here to some degree, so. I would be in agreement that our $20,000 is paid back in the county. The exact figures, you know, I don't know, I'm not an economist like that. Do we want to set a figure right now so we can move forward?
I think we should take each one individually,
Okay.
because if there's some discussion on one versus the
Yeah.
other.
But that one was $20,000.
Yeah, I
point.
meant individually. Should we set a figure out individually?
The request was 20, and I will vote to grant, I make a motion to approve it.
There's a motion to expend $20,000 towards Old Thrashers and that cause for tourism for Henry County.
I'll second that.
Steve would second that. Any further discussion before we move to vote on that? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
White,
Yes,
Lindy,
Yes.
Dietrich.
Yes.
and that motion did pass. Moving to Henry County Fair, same discussion here. I know we pay some of that out of local option sales tax and some of it out of the general. As Steve had indicated before, code does dictate that the county support and fund the county fair to a degree. I'd like to open that up for discussion.
What was the request on that, do you recall? Was it $23,000?
It's 15 for the
Which-
fair, 15,000 for the fair, and then it was 5,000 for the 4-H. It all goes together. So it's a total of 20,000.
Did I understand that? $20,000 was
the
what the agreed
total.
figure was?
It's a total.
Yep.
$23,000
Was the request.
was the request.
It was requested that,
We have paid 20 in the past.
yes.
I understand, but again, we're talking about the request. so.
Steve has posted the official request from the fair there, and
If we would go with the 23,000, how would we break that up? Each county would buy from the general and the other from the local option sales tax.
Well, the Iowa code, I don't know how you wanna break that down, but Iowa code, does it give like 0.675 per thousand? Is that right? Or is it?
Does it have a number?
It does have, I think that's what should come out of the general fund, and then anything else should come out of community betterment.
So you want the total of the Henry County Fair come out of the general?
No, whatever code calls requires, it's listed, I'm pretty sure that's correct, but we can double check it. And then the balance of it would come out of community betterment. We might as well fulfill our obligations first with Iowa code, out of general basic.
so let's get that determined rather than leave that up in the air. Let's Can we look, see what the,
Well, or we can just figure out what our dollar request will be, what we're gonna fulfill, and then.
divide it out?
Then have it divided out there afterwards, which wouldn't be a problem.
We can approve the dollar amount, yeah, Mark's point. So, Mark, the request is 23,000, are you,
I'm good with that, because, that fair seems to be growing every year, and, I enjoy going out there and watching, and I know they're trying to improve different aspects of it all the time. I would make a motion that we do the 23,000.
got a motion? Would there be a second to support a $23,000 expenditure towards the Henry County Fair?
I will second the $23,000 motion.
And roll call vote for that?
White,
No.
then Dean,
Yes.
Teacher.
Yes.
That motion did pass. $23,000 will be expended towards the Henry County Fair. Next would be the area economic development. Has there been an official request for that? Steve, do you have any documentation on that? Display or anything?
We do have that. See if I can find it. Which one was it? Is it the area development?
MPADC.
$45,000 for this year. You're sitting back there, does that sound right, you guys?
I asked for 50, but I'll take 45.
I don't recall the 50, I don't think we have an email on that 50, I'm pretty sure we don't. But if you wanna resend that, I'm surprised you didn't say 80.
And Rachel, can you tell us what that $45,000 does?
So right now, I did come and present on this case back in the beginning of February, so I would refer to your notes for that. But just quickly stating, since I'm not on the agenda, it goes to support the existing economic development efforts for Henry County.
With that, I'd like to say in 2014, the rural residents voted to spend local option sales tax money for residential waste disposal and economic development. So I would move to increase the money that we give to economic development to $45,000. And also, Steve, you have frequently said, we have opportunities.
We do.
And this is one of those opportunities. And we also have a chance to use non-levied dollars to invest in the future of Henry County. Taking the investment monies made from the ARPA funds that our treasurer has invested, I would also include in this motion a one-time contribution of $65,000 to the capital campaign of Henry County.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
When I came back in February, I had two financial at requests. One was for the annual 28E agreement. I do, to Steve's point you talked earlier, we do have that. It is a little dated. I think it goes back to 2004, if I remember correctly. And then my second request was to support the 5-year capital campaign. And so my first request was for $50,000 for the annual investment, and the second one was for the 5-year pledge of $20,000 a year. And the 28E agreement and the capital campaign are two separate requests. The 28E agreement was been set up, as I said, years ago.
So we're talking about expending $110,000. And you said 65,000.
Well, I said 65, but that is up for discussion too, because I know we have that lump of money that we have a one-time expenditure. And we're gonna fulfill our obligations.
We all live in this community. We talk about economic development, how to improve our area to make it grow. I know there's a fair number of people that work pretty hard at keeping that engaged or try to be engaged to further that effort. It takes money, it takes, how do you buy ground? How do you buy anything? It's a big decision, it's a lot of money, but what's our town worth and what's our community worth here? The only,
As it was said, if we aren't growing, we're dying. So,
I could support that to a degree. I think the request then is for $45,000, which I would approve. The other request was for $50,000, and I don't wanna go over that number. I think we have some ARPA money interest that we need to work with, but I think that we need to manage that. And an extra $15,000 at this point, I don't think it would be prudent on our part, so I would support the $50,000 that she's requesting.
you would go for 15,000? 50?
For the capital gains, or the capital fund.
Mr.
Because again,
Chairman,
that's the request.
Mr. Chairman, I think you have it backwards,
Yeah.
Steve. It was $50,000 for the 28E agreement, and then an additional $20,000 for 5 year, $100,000, $20,000 a year to support the capital campaign. There were 2 requests that day.
Okay.
The 28E agreement,
Is for
50. We're currently getting 42, and it hadn't been raised in, what did I report that day, 16 years or something? And then the second request was for the capital campaign.
Either way, I think, I don't wanna go to the 65 level, I just stay where we're at with the request, at the level it's at.
so give me the figures right down here.
The motion was for 45, but she's gonna amend it to 50?
Yeah, if that's the actual request, we're gonna amend that to 50.
I'll rescind the second part of that motion then, so we can vote on that one. 11?
Okay. Everybody clear on the motion? And there was a second,
Yes.
and that included $50,000, correct? Everybody in favor of $50,000 for the ADC request? Indicate by aye.
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 I
Those
think-
opposed? Hearing none, not possible, that passed, so.
I think we need to look at the other request and also.
Yes.
Okay. And the second part of that would be the capital campaign contribution. The request was $20,000 per year for 5 years for a total of $100,000, if I remember right.
Correct.
It's hard to spend money in the future, but we could take this year and do that. I don't know if we have to make a $100,000 commitment at this point, or should we do it year by year?
I think we could do it both ways. Over a 5-year period, we'd put $100,000 at $20,000 a year for 5 years. So it's spelled out.
Second motion?
That's my motion.
I'll second that if it's a $100,000 donation
Which is
over
the
5
total.
years.
Over 5 years.
Okay.
Okay. Motion for a $20,000 per year contribution for the next 5 years to be expended towards the capital improvement program project right now for a total of $100,000. Everybody in favor of that indicate by aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed possible, so that motion didn't pass, so that is locked in now for 5 years, so $20,000 for 5 years.
Roll call. Jan? Roll call.
You wanna do a roll call? Somebody from the gallery said roll call, yeah, let's do a roll call on it.
White,
White, yes.
Lindy,
Yes.
Dietrich.
Yes.
That motion passed again. Next issue is Main Street. You've got Main Street there at a $7,500 contribution.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And Lisa, since you're sitting back, I'm gonna ask you, I know you've given your presentation, but just for the sake of clarity, what all does that money do?
That money goes, it's to all the projects and all the work we do downtown to continue to strengthen the downtown of Mount Pleasant. It goes to building rehabs, creating new upper story housing, recruiting, retention, and succession planning with businesses. To continue the strong sales tax in the downtown. I do have the information from regional planning that I will send to you. I just got it. It does show that we are performing, we exceed what the county's doing for a percentage on a lot of the different things, and we've continued to grow. The information I have goes back to 2012, so we have continued to grow according at the same rate as the county or above in a lot of the years. So it's just to continue to keep the downtown strong. Assessed value, we've increased over 30% since we became a Main Street community in 2002. We have gotten back the study from Donovan Ripkema that shows that across the nation with sales tax, it's here. Iowa is up, bumps up a little bit than all the Main Street communities in Iowa, 52 of them. We bump up even higher for sales tax, and that every upper story housing that creates it brings $42,000 to your community. So that's the work we do in the downtown.
And I'll ask you a kind of a pointed question, has the county contribution increased?
Since we began,
Yeah,
yes, it has.
and what was it last year?
It was 7,500.
So there's no increase, it's just status quo from what it was last year.
Correct.
Motion,
Motion to approve the Main Street request.
I'll second that.
and that motion indicated was $7,500.
Correct.
And second, you understood that, so.
Yep.
Okay, it's been moved and second to expend $7,500 for this year towards Main Street projects. The only other discussion I wanna throw out on that is the other communities have asked nothing of us. Is that correct? I'm not aware of any other community, other outside New London, Wayland, anything.
Just for history information, New London did it one time, and then they had a group, and we did help them, but they no longer have that economic development group or a project towards Main Street.
Getting back to our motion and second, roll call vote on $7,500 for this year for Main Street.
White,
Yes,
Lindy,
Yes.
Dietrich.
Yes.
motion did pass, $7,500 for Main Street. The next item is Friends of Geode. That presentation, I don't see anybody from the Geode here, Friends of Geode. They had made a request, I'll speak on their behalf a little bit. They requested any available funds from the county to help them renovate and rejuvenate the Geode tourism, the geo usage. All of us here, or most of us here, remember the old concession stand at Geo Park. They've remodeled that, they've refurbished that to the point of, they wanna be able to have simple foodstuffs there, bait and tackle, rental of paddle boats and boats to be utilized on the lake. They've asked money from Des Moines County, I believe, and they were not able to, Des Moines County was not able to contribute anything to them. They've asked us, and that's the question here now. You know, I remember Geode as a kid being utilized pretty heavily, but it's dwindled away. It's unfortunate DNR doesn't wanna, it doesn't seem like they wanna put a whole lot back into their parks or anything either, so. With that, would there be any consideration for any financial help to Friends of Geode?
We find the Friends of Geode if we have problems helping our own conservation department.
Yeah, I think from a discussion standpoint, I was just looking at the letter from Friends of Geo that came to us back in the middle of January. I'll pull that up here in just a minute. But
Did I state everything correctly? I think.
yeah, pretty much so. They didn't really give us a dollar amount. They were requesting funds. I think, yeah, Friends of Geode, I think, obviously Geode is in Henry County for the most part, the bulk of it. And the county has done a substantial, the state has done a substantial amount of work to rejuvenate the lake. I think overall, we know that from what we've seen through REAP and through the Soil and Water Conservation Service, which Caleb was a part of back in those days prior to his tenure with the conservation department here. I think I would like to table that discussion for further understanding. I think we know that Katie Ryder said that she was going to try to work with them with electric bikes or something, a grant. And I don't know exactly where we are with all that, so I'd like to table the discussion for more input so that we could better understand exactly what they're looking for. And I think to Mark's point, you know, this is a community betterment situation overall. I think there's some opportunity here if we have the funds and we feel like we can do it, but I would like to better understand the overall finances and where we're at. Because again, I'm looking at the note that they sent to us, and they just gave us a little bit of a financial overview in the minutes, and didn't really give us a whole lot of background. And I can pull that up so you can see that. So, this was from the 18th of January, when they came to visit with us, and they're just really talking about, to your point, Chad, the concessions and what they would like to do and what they would like to see, but I don't think we know enough to understand what their request is, number one, and where they're at from a financial standpoint. So again, I'd like to table that discussion.
Is that gonna be a motion to continue it and consider it at a later date, or
I would-
just tabling it indefinitely?
Yeah, I'm just, I think, I don't wanna do a continuous, I don't know when we wanna do it, so I'd rather table it until we understand the timeline. Does that make sense, from a motion standpoint?
So that'd be a motion to table indefinitely.
Correct.
Second that then.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded to table that action item or potential action item for Friends of Geode until we get some further data. I will add something on that as part of the discussion. I'd run into a mass sale of canoes and kayaks and things like that would have been potentially available. I ran that past them to see if that would be a possibility of them being able to utilize something like that. And they indicated that it was unknown because each of the watercraft had to be a certain certification, meet a certain criteria of certification for public usage and things like that. So it was unknown at that point, so that sale basically occurred and no action or anything taken on that, so. Yeah, I think there's some extra bells and whistles that they have to jump through for the public usage versus just you and I's usage, I think so. Everybody in favor of tabling that indefinite until more discussion item data can be determined, indicate by aye.
Aye.
Aye. You like that? That passed. Next item is others. Others question mark, because I didn't know if there was others by name, so is there anything by name there?
Trenton Park for $1,200. I think that was a request. The others are all committed, I believe, by our budget at this point. And that's an average of community betterment dollars, which ties into the next bullet, but it kind of gets back into what we're talking about here. So 25, 26, that's really just half a year's average. So if you balance that out over the last 4 years, with $1,100,000 roughly in our community betterment fund.
On the Trenton Park, should we have discussion on that one? It's being utilized by Trenton Angels for a car show that has pretty good reception, pretty good usage up there and everything. But the townships, it's my understanding, also have the ability to levy for upkeep of that park on their own if they wish to do that. Is that proper understanding?
My understanding as well, yes. So with that in mind, I would make a motion that we discontinue contributions to the Trenton Park.
I'll second that.
Okay, and just for my own clarity and understanding, discontinue any financial monies towards that? Or would that even, I mean, they ask every year for authorization or permission to utilize the park for their car show. I think that has gone out without any problems at all. I don't think there's been any.
Very minimal.
Yeah, I maybe a spin and grin type situation on the pavement or something like that,
But that's not a state park, so.
it's not a
county
state.
park, rather. It's a city park, right?
No.
No,
the
it's
county.
It was a
property.
county park, for
park,
your information, county park at one time, and the conservation board, gave it back to the board of supervisors.
Okay. So it is a county property.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
But do we wanna
Learning
work,
experience.
do we wanna work then with the township trustees about how they would generate any funds for their future use?
Well, in thinking about it right now, they've already had their budget, so they've set their money, so, that should have been done in the future, prior to this then.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe we do have to give them the $1,200 for at least the mowing. And have that discussion for next year for that, after thinking about it right now.
So I would amend that motion. So, yeah, to rescind, and then we would allow that $1,200. My
So-
misunderstanding on the county property.
So it would be payable this year.
Correct.
And up for debate and discussion and action next year. Right. Okay.
For the $1,200.
For the $1,200. So, everybody clear on that?
Clear as mud.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Roll call vote on that issue.
White,
Yes,
Lindy,
Yes.
Dietrich.
Yes.
that did pass. They'll receive their $1,200 this year, and next year be open for determination, so. Next one is a community betterment fund as a question mark. So, anything,
No, I just wanted to give some attention so y'all understood from the previous discussion where we're at on an average basis here. So a little over $1,100,000 roughly over a 4-year average coming into the community betterment. And those are the dollars that we're talking about in some of these allocations. Which goes back to local option sales tax.
anything more need said on that one? Okay. Under unfinished business, I'd like to, have IT technology employee, Brad Bavery. Stand up, introduce yourself, and,
Hello, my name is Brad Bavery. I am now employed with Henry County Courthouse as an IT support technician 2 under Gunnar Sloan, the current IT manager, department head. I've lived in Henry County for about 5 years now. I actually grew up in West Central Illinois, but Iowa's been my backyard most of my life. I look to do my part to improve the county's IT infrastructure, continue to support everyone in the county to meet their goals and expectations. And if you have any questions, feel free to meet me. I'm here in the courthouse 5 days a week.
so both of you being present, there's some pet projects that we would like to work on. We've been a squeaky wheel about that, you know, but as things evolve and progress, we want to get some of this taken care of. And one is the county audio video recording abilities for that. So that would be one of my pet projects that I'd like to see get moved.
So to speak to that, is the intention, there's been a talk about reorganizing office space. So that's been put on hold until we kind of are aware, yeah.
Yep.
When you guys decide how the office is gonna reorganize, we'll make a plan in place to get stuff moved over.
I know discussion's been made with a system out at the sheriff's office being available. I don't know what it would take to temporarily set that up in this said thing right here. You know, with some maybe modifications or something like that, but that system is always available, or I hope would always be available from the sheriff's office anyway. It's available now, so if that's something we could use, maybe we could think of that. So, but welcome aboard. Thank you. Letter F, discussion determination if the IT manager or IT staff should handle website content. I think right now we rely on the webmaster for the county's website to do additions and deletions of information on there. I know sometimes it doesn't always get done on a timely basis, and I'm wondering if you gentlemen working in the IT field could think maybe that could be done better, or maybe on a more timely
Yeah.
issue, accurate issues, that type of thing.
So, how it operates right now is I think independently each department is requesting changes to be made. So we have a point of contact directly with solutions, so in the short term, it might be better to have those directed to IT to say these are the facilitated changes, and then we can manage the content directly through solutions, and then in the long term, we're looking at avenues of revamping the website and hosting, and there's some ADA compliance things coming down the pipe for next year that we need to start looking at compliance for. So taking all that into consideration, I think a good short-term fix would be to have, instead of reaching out directly through solutions, which I think is a couple different webmasters, having those go through IT, and every time we've requested something, it's been within a few hours, typically. On rare occasions, it's been longer, but it's usually a pretty quick change.
I know sometimes, there's outdated information on there that really needs to be taken down. I mean, it's outdated, it's old water under the bridge type thing. It, needs to be taken down. But, good, we'll work on that.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yes, sir.
So we do a lot of updates and stuff that we haven't had any issues with that, and I think it's not that have a major issue with it, it's just adding another layer or another step in the process. I don't think our department has any issues with putting updates or postings out there that we communicate, so from my perspective, it'd be nice to status quo is how we are doing that now. It's just adding one more direction into it.
I would agree. I think the three of you,
Yeah,
the sheriff included, could probably manage that.
In the larger departments,
Together,
probably make a lot
figure it
more
out.
changes, and that's fine if you, yeah, we could talk about that, but I don't have an issue with you guys continuing if it's working for you well.
Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
That all happened then. Okay, next item then is committee updates. I know. Yeah, any committee updates from Steve?
No, I have a Southeast Iowa Regional today, so I'll get down there by 12.
Yep. Mark?
I've had Southeast Iowa Community Action as the normal meeting, nothing that affected Henry County in any one way. Great River Regional Waste Authority, the thing that took our time and it's still under discussion is the city of Keokuk has now taken ownership of some property and we're cleaning up a site and how we handle the material that they'll be bringing to us. And also, I had the Henry County landfill, the closed waste disposal spot on Kentucky Avenue, and things are progressing very nicely there. And our revenue is just fine, and it's taking care of all the requirements that we need.
And my meeting dates are tomorrow. I have one with Southeast Iowa Crime Commission and the Juvenile Detention Facility in Montrose. I sit on those boards. If there's anything that you want me to ask or obtain or any information, let me know. I know the Juvenile Detention Facility is received bids for locks and keys and electronic slider doors and yeah, it about makes your skin crawl thinking what the expenses on all that it'd be. It's north of $250,000 on renovations and the sheriff's shaking his head like he knows about that. And
They're very expensive.
very expensive there, but it's one of those things that it needs done at some point, so that will be the topic of discussion tomorrow, so. And then the Crime Commission, they do periodic trainings and updates and I think they're help to a fair number of counties that utilize their services and everything, so. I'll have more about that after the meeting, of course. Moving to new business, item number 6, new business. Engineer Jake Hotchkiss, Tracy Salmon giving the secondary roads update.
Tracy in to help out. I think we'll go ahead and do the 5-year program first. That's a PowerPoint I have here. This should only take about an hour. Yeah. State waitress test at the end. And then I have a few other items that shouldn't take too long, so. Coffee, if I start coughing, I apologize. Might be easier if I stand here, I guess. I think I'm ready if you wanna click.
You want to do it, so you don't
Oh.
have to yell at me?
Well, then it doesn't sound like trouble. Okay. First slide's pretty simple, 5-year construction program. Just give a little background. We always present a county budget in January that talks about how we're gonna spend the dollars in the current budget fiscal year that we're talking about. With the DOT, we have to produce a DOT budget, which is essentially the same budget but breaks out items in more detail as far as categories that we can spend money on and how much we can go over in areas. The bottom line is we can't spend more than what we're budgeting for. And then part of that is to actually develop a plan, a construction plan to develop what's our target over the next 5 years. And it's a plan that's basically giving ideas of where we're moving at. The first 2 years in the 5-year program are usually the more constant ones, the ones that we're actually moving forward on. There's other ones that are later in the program that say, hey, these are needs, these are projects that we want to do. As we determine what funding we have, those are things that we're working on. So, a little background. So currently, in our current fiscal year, we have several projects that are going on. The biggest one is our bridge out here west of town. That's just shy of $4 million. They're in the process of constructing that. That will hopefully finish late this summer or late this fall, as everything's progressing out there. Right now, this is a quick update. We've got the east abutment completed. We've got the footings on the west pier done. We've got half of the stems that come up for the structure on that pier. They're going to be starting to work on the second coffer dam, which would be the east pier, and then they'll also be working on the west abutment. So they have 2 crews in there right now. They're trying to work, and that's the one that's taking most of our inspection time, construction time, our office time out there on that project. In addition on that, we have the Winfield Avenue City Project. This is from Agri Center to Grand Avenue. There's a portion that the county actually has jurisdiction on, and so we have to pay for our share of it. The city is taking care of the design, and we're using farm to market funds to help fund that project, and that will be late this spring is the plan. So again, those dollars are obligated as we move forward. The Lexington, that's the next one, that's on up here north of town. Again, another update. We actually finished the culvert pour yesterday, so the box is complete as far as the concrete goes. We're waiting on removing the forms, backfilling, and cure time that we have to do, and then the grading contractor will be coming in to complete the backfill, and that is a gravel surface, so we're rocking it at that point. So again, that one is moving along really quick. The next project is on 170th Street. This is a culvert that we're doing just east of 218. We're looking at a closure of April 7th. Next week we'd be doing an official closure on that, or a press release. And again, that's replacing a culvert. It's a smaller culvert that they'll be replacing to get that ready for a future asphalt overlay project that we have scheduled that we'll talk about later. So again, that one there, we're saying should take that 6 to 8 weeks to complete that project. There will be a detour in place that will utilize Highway 78 and Oasis Avenue and 218. Basically, it's a reverse detour that they had last year when 78 was closed. And then the last one is a tank car. This is on 190th Street. It's just west of Franklin Avenue. There we'll be ordering a tank car to replace one of our smaller bridges with. So it'll be like a 65-foot tank car that essentially we just pull out the old bridge, we roll in the new tank car, backfill it, and we move on. And that'll be completed by our maintenance forces. So we're in the process of ordering that tank. So ideally, we'll have that one done before July 1st. Again, it's just pictures of those projects. You can see them over there on the map that we have back there. Then you're getting into fiscal year 27. This is next year's budget. The first one that comes up, it's called an illustrative project. What it means is we're going after some additional funds to help fund this project. We don't have the dollars right now obligated or allocated for that project. It is Franklin Avenue from Oakland Mills north to Old Highway 34. We have received safety funds, so we applied for a $500,000 grant to add paved shoulders and rumble strips on the shoulders as well as center line. And then right now we're working through a process. We submitted a grant through Miller Meeks for a community betterment project for the remainder of that. So that's one of the projects that we're working on, waiting to get some information on to see if we're successful or not. The next project is a bridge on 200th Street. This is just north of town here, right off of Iowa Avenue. You go down, there's a Y. There we'll be replacing a posted bridge that we'll be replacing it with a continuous concrete slab bridge. That project we'd be looking at doing a letting probably sometime in December of this year, and then construction will be next summer. Okay, so we talked about that. Then the next item, it says intersections. So if you've noticed, on 218, we've done some paved approaches, or even on Highway 78, when they went through with the resurfacing, we've done 50-foot of paved approaches on some of our major gravel roads. And that's to help with the edge issues that we're having, the maintenance issues. It gets the motor grader back away from the 4 lanes. And so these are dollars that we have to pay for that additional lineal feet that we're doing as far as a 6-foot or 6-inch pavement for 50 feet outside. So Highway 78, we've done some. We've got several that are going to be going on this year as well. On Highway 34, they're going to be doing Marsh Avenue, Nebraska on the north side. And then on Highway 78, we're doing Benton Avenue, 110th Street, and Ash Avenue with their resurfacing. So whenever the DOT contacts us and say, hey, we're going to be doing an overlay project, we look at these intersections, and if there's some of our major ones, we look at adding those approaches. And again, it's for safety. It's for just an average person driving the road. You don't have a pothole or those issues where everybody's accelerating. That's where we typically have issues. But it gets the motor grader out of the 4 lanes is really what we're looking at. So those are dollars that come out of either local construction dollars or farm to market account, depending on what the road designation is. And then the next project I have here is just on Iowa Avenue, just south of the intersection of South Street. We're gonna look at budgeting to replace about 150 to 200 feet of that curb and gutter that we've been struggling with that's been breaking up. So we would go out for a local letting on that project to get that done. Again, we're just targeting that 100,000. The last 2 items are, we call them local culverts. There's local and there's FM, so the difference there is what type of classification the road is. There I'm showing 35,000. These are projects that we typically do in-house, but maybe they're upsizing the culvert or they're replacing it, or we would go out for prices from a local contractor. It might be a box culvert extension or something like that. So those, we have a little bit of flexibility. That's just various. We don't know where it's at yet, but we do designate a few dollars there to be for some improvements that maybe would pop up. Again, these are highlighting just the bigger projects. Franklin Avenue is the big one, and then that bridge there on 200th Street. Fiscal year 28, we're getting into those projects there. The one that we're still waiting to get approval on is the Iowa Avenue Bridge. We submitted a grant with the DOT and several other counties to replace that bridge. And actually, the city of Mount Pleasant has a structure there just south of Old Threshers there, or right next to Old Threshers. There's a culvert there that's included in this. So Henry County actually has the opportunity to have 2 projects replaced through this grant. Our project is estimated at $1.5 billion to replace the bridge on Iowa Avenue. We were supposed to find out information. Obviously, that's been slowed down right now with the way the federal government's going, but we would anticipate to get that information here. I'd like to say within the next several months here that we would know for sure. That would then start the process. Now, our project, the way the CHBP project works, is we are lumped together with 2 other entities. So the city of Mount Pleasant is going to be one part of it. The other part is the state of Iowa. The state of Iowa is going to have a project, I believe it's on Highway 78, and it's west of Brighton, somewhere on west. But those 3 projects will be led as one contract. And the DOT will be the administrator of that project, and then we would have our piece that we would work on in conjunction with them. So we're responsible for our work, and the city would be responsible for theirs, and the DOT is just, the DOT is kind of the big umbrella of how that project would go. So that's our big one, as far as grant and getting those dollars locked in. And then we have a bridge. This bridge is up by Winfield. It's a gravel road. It's a pony truss bridge that we're scheduling to replace. It is actually turns into a dirt road on the north end. We looked at some different options there, and we've come back to saying I think replacing the bridge is our best long-term option there. Getting rid of the bridge wasn't going to really work well on that spot. So there we'll be starting to schedule to get that work done. Then 170th Street is one of our federal aid projects that we have. This would be dollars that are allocated through our region. There are STBG dollars. There we're looking at overlaying 170th Street, and that would be going from Highway 218 to the east to Des Moines County line. Originally last year when I presented this, we were looking at doing it in 2 pieces and doing a concrete overlay to start with. As we're looking at dollars and how the road is holding up, we have moved to an asphalt overlay for the whole 9 miles. So we're actually going to try to go after the whole project. So we'll be doing an amendment to our regional planning project that we have, just to change the surface type and extend the length of that project. So again, we're just trying to get that one done as one continuous project. And that would go through the former town of Mount Union, and it ends on the Des Moines County line. And there we're estimating right around $3.6 million for that project. And then the other ones there, again, are just some small ones we're targeting there, some that have been on the program for a while, saying, hey, we know we need to do something, but we haven't had a chance to go after those dollars. Again, this is showing the map of where these locations are at. The Nashville Bridge is up there by Winfield, and then 170th Street is going east off of 218 to the county line, and then Iowa Avenue is our big discretionary grant that we're seeking. Now we're starting to get a little farther out. This is more about planning. Some of our stuff is primarily just bridges on this one. These are projects that bridges have shown that they're needing to get off our system. And so we'll start the surveying side, some of the background paperwork that we have to do with different permits and different things like that. But these are projects that we're looking at. So the first one I have there on the left is Clayton Avenue. This is just south of 140th Street. It's an old pony truss bridge. We actually have 2 pony truss bridges in the county that are active. One's on Clayton and the other one's on Nashua. So we are actually trying to get those off of our system. Those are what they call fracture critical bridges. They require more inspection. What fracture critical means is that essentially there isn't a lot of redundancy in that structure. So the bridge itself is fine, but again, we're looking at getting that removed from our system long term. The next one there in the middle, this is out by the quarry with Dowds. We have it's a structure, it's actually a large multi-plate culvert. So it is technically a bridge, the way we classify it. It looks like a culvert because well, it is, but it is considered a bridge based on the width that we have. So that one there we've had on the program, and we've been moving that one around. And right now we're going to move it to using federal dollars to help replace that structure. And then the next one is 140th Street, which is just north of Clayton. So that's Clayton, the one we were just talking about, and then this is 140th Street. So this bridge here, it may stay on there a little longer, but we're starting the process. It's a narrower bridge. It's just approaching the end of its life as we're monitoring. It's not currently posted, but that's one that we're starting to do some planning on. So again, we've got 3 projects there that are bridges, and that comes up to roughly they're $800,000, $600,000, $875,000 for the 3 of those projects that we're looking at. And then again, those intersection payments, just documenting that yes, we've got some obligations out there that we're gonna have to pay for. Fiscal year 30, I'm just showing a couple projects here, but we do have several that are listed. I have 2 illustrative projects. And illustrative means we have a need, we don't have funding for it, okay? So the first one I have is Salem Road, and it goes from Salem to Highway 218. And right there, we're looking at replacement of the existing concrete, at that estimated at $4.5 million. The second illustrative project is Racine Avenue from 170th Street or Mount Union to essentially New London. And looking at an asphalt overlay there, we're showing roughly $3.5 million looking at that one. One of those 2 projects, and most likely I'm leaning towards Racine, we will go after federal dollars in the future when it's our turn to go for our regional dollars that we go after. So we're like on a 4-year cycle. So we have 170th Street that we're have our regional dollars going for. Most likely I'm moving that Racine would be the one that we would put forward as our next project using federal dollars, if that makes sense. And then that leaves the Salem Road essentially unfunded at this point, for sure.
Excuse me, so is that because of the volume of traffic or just the condition of the road or a
Condition of the road and then how to stretch the dollars out. So essentially the Racine one, the length of that and that overlay and where it's at, there's some balancing act that we have to make a decision on which way we're going. So with the concrete, we have some options to patch. Those definitely kind of come up, but you will probably see us having to do a patching contract out there again with some farm market owners. But yep. Okay. And then the last one I have on there, this is a bigger bridge, and this is just to lay it out there. It's the Agency Road. There's a bridge, we call it 156. It's just west of Salem. There, we're starting to put that in to say, hey, it's on our radar. It's not a posted bridge yet. It's starting to show some things that are through our consultant that we're trying to monitor and just start to plan for. It is a large project. It'll be roughly $2.8 million based on the length of that structure. So again, we're laying it out there to monitor on to start programming for that. And then our last year, fiscal year 31, is pulling out the New London Road south of New London, and there I am obligating farm to market dollars. That's what I'm planning on. This is a project that might get pushed back another year or two, just depending on how the funds come in, but it's laying it out. That's the next place that we want to go when you're talking about the other projects. So on the map over there, you can kind of see it a little bit more clear as far as there's a lot of projects all over the county, and resurfacing is a big part of it and trying to manage that. It's really difficult to stay on top of it. And at this point, we're not talking about any additions to our system. It's just maintaining the system that we have as far as paved roads go. So if you were hoping that your gravel road would get paved, it's probably not gonna happen, as it is currently. So,
What about my dirt road?
your dirt road's probably even less significant. So,
Just checking.
so again, what does that all add up to? Quite a bit. You know, when we're looking at the total there of what we're showing as need, we're showing a need of $25 million over our 5-year program. Will we do $25 million over our 5-year program? Absolutely not. So it's just a matter of, again, showing that, laying out the direction we're going. The one thing I do want to point out is we're actively going after dollars to bring into the county. So there is a substantial amount of money that we have been spending a lot of time. So my office staff, Tracy over there, we're working on what is another area that we can bring dollars into the county to help make some of these improvements. So that is a big portion of our project. And again, you know, like the 2030 where we're showing those illustrative, those are essentially unfunded ones. So we haven't found those dollars yet. But, we've been very successful with TSIP, which is a transportation safety improvement dollars. That's what we did on Franklin Avenue south of Oakland Mills, those paved shoulders there. That was $500,000 that we were able to bring into that project. The grant project out here on 235th Street, which is that just shy of $4 million. So those are dollars that we didn't have access to that we went after, and so I appreciate my staff helping through that process. So. Now we're getting into the DOT budget. Essentially, I've talked to you guys about this. Again, this is just talking about where's the income coming from. This is an annual assessment of how our county works with dollars. The biggest contributor to our income is the road use tax fund. That's your gas tax, that's your registration fees. The one thing I always point out is registration fees have really been supporting the gas tax here recently. That's where the growth has been coming from. It's not necessarily coming from the gas tax itself. So those dollars there are very important, but again, that's just shy of half of our income that we're looking at. Property tax is the other big one. Again, we're sitting around about $1.6 million. Essentially, those dollars are utilized for the roads, the gravel roads, the maintenance, the culvert replacements that we do with our maintenance forces, the rock that we put on the roads. That's where those dollars are typically can show where they're going from. Lost, we were talking about the Community Betterment Fund earlier today. Lost, the board has designated $500,000 that we utilize for our rock crushing into some of our local construction projects. So Fremont Avenue was a culvert that we just finished. That was dedicated lost dollars that we have pointed out that we were going to use for that replacement. Then we get into miscellaneous revenue. So when the sheriff pays me for gas, that's where those dollars are coming from, because we're not donating the gas. I think that's been a topic of discussion. So we're going to continue getting reimbursed. But the school district uses our fuel system as well as ambulance services, and those are just basically we just provide a point of access to them. So those are kind of pass-through dollars is the way we talk about it. And then you have the designated construction funds. Farm to market is our biggest pot of money, and these are dollars are absolutely designated to construction. And right now we're looking at just a little over $1.1 million that we're at. That has about a 1 to 2% growth. Again, that's dependent on registration fees and what kind of gas is coming out, or the use of gas. And then the other one is federal bridge dollars, and that's just shy of $600,000. That one will fluctuate based on the condition of our bridges. So when we replace the bridge out here west of town, we will see this drop some because of we've just improved our system by a square footage area. So there's a formula that they use, and that one will move around back and forth. So that's income. Then I just talked about a whole bunch of construction and where does that come. So this is a spreadsheet that I have that I tried to put in where you guys can maybe understand what's going on, and it's pretty cluttered. But the essential idea is that's our zero balance. That means anything above that means we have money in the account. Anything below that means we're actually borrowing ahead, or when I say borrowing ahead, that's not a great term. With the farm to market program and the bridge program, we are able to use dollars in advance of us actually receiving, because it's in one big pot. So the farm to market's in this whole state of Iowa, all the counties, has one reserve thing. So that people are waiting for projects to come, they don't wanna have that money, so they do allow counties to borrow unquote ahead. And we are typically staying below zero on that, and you can see the big project. Why we're in the hole right now more is that we finished a large project on Franklin Avenue South. We're gonna build up, and then we're gonna have 170th Street. We're gonna use part of that project's gonna utilize some farm to market funds to help balance that out with the regional dollars. Then we're gonna work on growing that account again, and then we're looking at that new London Road. So again, we're trying to work back up to zero, but there is an advantage to us using these dollars now because they're not gonna get cheaper later, I guess is the way I would determine that. So, and then with a bridge account, I like to stay a little closer to zero. Just for the unknown, something that would happen that we're not quite ready for. But here I am showing more obligations. Again, that's planning. Not all those will happen all at the same time. This here was the same thing I showed you guys back in January, with one addition, or one change that we have talked about. We adjusted after our contract rock prices came in. We dropped roads by 100,000, and we increased new equipment by 100,000 to handle the excavator that we're working on, trying to figure out our game plan to replace. So that's the big change. Right now, we're projecting a budget of about $8 million. And we talked before that there are pass-through dollars that come through. So we have a construction project that's estimated at $700,000. We pay for that up front. We get reimbursed, so that's a pass-through. And then the other side of it is our roads. We're crushing our quarry this year. That's an increase that we normally don't have every single year. So again, that's a one-time thing. That's where that $1 million difference between the last two, the current one we're in and the one we're gonna be in as far as the dollars that we're looking at, so. And I think that's it for questions and pictures. Questions?
Not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but approximate number of,
We kind of are.
no. You'll know this right off the
Okay.
top of your head. How many lane miles of road does the engineer and secondary roads cover?
Yeah, so I'm gonna use round numbers. We have about 550 miles of gravel road and about 120 miles of paved roads in our system. And then there's, I think, right around 100 miles of dirt road, I think. Don't quote me on that one, but 550 miles of gravel road and 120 miles of pavement. The 550 miles of gravel road, we estimate, or what we try to plan for, is to resurface a quarter of that every year. So our rock plan is to put us into that 25% of our system that we're replacing. Some will get resurfaced a little sooner, that just because of traffic, and we have a little bit of allotment there, but the target is 3 to 4, or every 4 years for sure, we're resurfacing that.
Then part two, about how many bridges are in the county?
I think it's right at
Ballpark.
I think it's right at about 117. It fluctuates a little bit because when we replace structures and different things, but I can get you that number.
I mean, that approximate's all I
Yeah,
wanted.
we've been up to 120, and I think we're down to like 117 now. So the reason that would change is that maybe a bridge is over 20 feet now, but then when we go to replace it, we put a box culvert that maybe is a 10 by 10 box culvert versus the old 20-foot bridge that they had in there. So it just depends. Like the bridge that we're replacing up there on Lexington, that will still be considered a bridge because it's a twin box culvert, and it will be over 20 feet span total. So those are some factors.
And I asked you that just to give people an idea that it's not, you're not clearing 20 miles of gravel road. You got a lot of roads there to
Yeah,
cover.
we have 8 territories that we run with our gravel roads. One of them is a little smaller than the other that they use kind of as a flow person. So we have 7 territories of about 70 miles, and then that 8 territory, I think, is around 50 miles, right, Tracy? I'm pretty sure it's around 50 miles. So, but yeah, there is a lot that we have to cover.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, then we're getting to the business side of it. I just have 2 permits, and that was pretty quick for me, guys.
It was good. It was very
Yeah.
thorough.
So we're clear. You have the permits.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. I won't hold it against you. Okay.
want anybody to read mine.
Did you guys get this? I gave it to everyone. Okay. Did you get one?
No, thank you.
Marilyn, did you get
Oh, thanks.
one? Okay, so we have 2 permits. We have more than 2 permits. We have a utility permit, and then we have self-applied dust control permits to do here. So let me get these all. Okay. these are self-applied dust control permits, and the reason we're bringing them up now all at once is with our fee of the $25. That way we keep the treasurer happy. I think she might have stepped out, but making sure that we're not holding on those checks longer than we need to. So again, we'll bring them up as we get them. And then the other one is Mount Pleasant Utilities. This is their the water line on Winfield Avenue that we just talked about to do their improvements out there. So. While you're signing to keep us moving here, what did we do last week on part of this week? I guess now that we meet on Thursdays. On Friday last week, we did finished up some edge work we were doing on Racine and taking care of some shoulder issues out there south of Winfield Avenue. We did have our operators out blading roads last weekend into this week. We held a safety meeting on Tuesday. We also did a little retirement cake and ice cream for the 2 employees that we have retiring. But we turned that into a safety meeting, and then in the afternoon, we had a bunch of culverts to deliver to get ready for some projects that we're doing with maintenance pipes and then other people with entrance pipes. And then on Wednesday, we picked up our first excavator to demo. We are demoing a Caterpillar 320 GC. We're going to demo it this week and into next week on some projects that we're doing up in the Winfield area. That will be the first one that we're looking at. There'll be a couple more that we'll try to demo as well. And then hauling spot rock to various locations as it fits and what we need to. So on Friday, we did some more spot rock hauling as well. And then miscellaneous construction, I pretty much gave you guys all that already. We talked about Lexington, the culvert's pretty well complete as far as the concrete work goes. 235th Street, I gave you an update on that bridge. And then 170th Street, the big one there, we'll be doing a press release next week for that closure for April 7th. And then the last one there was Maddie Tree Service has completed the work that we were going to do down at the Oakland Mills Bridge, our bridge. They got their pile burnt and discarded, and they were able to get out to that second pier to remove the debris or the log jam that we had out there with their barge. So we are done with that. So the next flood or trees that come downstream. So. Questions? This chair is thank you.
People keep behind me, can see them.
I don't want to see a blow spot.
I don't see nothing.
My daughter told me I have one coming. So. They are.
Sally's pretty honest.
It's not her fault. It's genetic.
I told her it's her fault.
Good luck with that.
She laughs. She doesn't care.
Was it open for questions? Or from them?
Them. It's their meeting.
Of
so,
course,
yeah.
my apologies.
Nope. But if anybody has questions, obviously outside the meeting, I'm glad to answer questions about our program or anything like that. So, yep.
Are we on pace with all the dust control that's starting to come in now? You know?
Not real. I wouldn't say I really know. Self-applied are coming. They kind of just trickle in. But as far as that, we get a big list. We get it at one time. All the vendors will get those into us, and then we take 2 weeks to go out and check those out, then prep for the dust control.
Yeah, I was just curious because we obviously changed the late fee, so
Yeah,
it's going to impact anybody that decides to hold off.
correct.
Got your auto pen all warmed up and done,
Okay. Well, thank you guys. That's all I have.
Thank you. Nicely done.
Next item under new business is discussion and action concerning the supervision of Tyler Freeze, from the auditor to the supervisor, and building access to Tyler to allow maintenance to happen, whatever building it might be in, whether it be the emergency management building or the public health or wherever.
I'll make a motion to change the supervision of Tyler Freeze from the auditor to the supervisors, and then I'll wait for discussion.
Okay, been a motion made. Is there a second on that?
I'll second for discussion purposes.
Okay. Open for discussion, so.
So we have talked about this a little bit in the past, but I think as we all talked earlier, we have changed the job description for Tyler. Tyler, sitting in the doorway right there, if you don't know him, folks, is the maintenance person for not just this building, but all of the facilities throughout the county. So very similar to what we did with the IT situation. He supports the county as a whole rather than just a single building. So with increased responsibilities and increased capabilities that we're gonna utilize his talents throughout the various buildings here within the county, I felt like it's more prudent to have him up reporting to the supervisors rather than the auditor, so that we can follow the same structure and the line of reasoning that we used with the IT situation, supporting maintenance throughout the facilities. And a good example would be, as you and Tyler had talked earlier, Chad, you talked about replacing a step over at the sheriff's office, which is outside the confines of this building. Tyler often talks with us about other areas that need improvement, like public health building over there where they've got a leak in the roof and those types of things that we would need to be involved in. So that was really the drive for that, plus again, changing some of the responsibilities overall.
I have an issue with the auditor not having any authority over Tyler. The reason being is, there's times when we can't be gotten hold of. There's things that are easily fixed if Tyler says, hey, I need to do this. I think the auditor should have the authority to say yes, because she's the one here all the time, not us. And I don't know if I like the term, if you would say a co-responsibility between the auditor and supervisor, but I think that under any big things, Tyler has always gotten a hold of us on a few things. I understand where you're coming from, Steve, but I still think that the auditor needs authority to take action when needed. And so I don't like the complete control taken away from the auditor.
I'd like to hear from the auditor, and I'd like to hear from Kyler.
Really, the only questions I had, if you guys would take over what I would do, basically, they do my budget and claims. Would you guys be doing that, or?
Yes,
Okay.
is the answer.
Okay, I agree more with Mark, because they are here pretty much every day. You guys are off and on, who knows, definitely Thursdays, but I can give you a call, but it's nice to have somebody physically here, I guess.
And also with the idea that if something happens, Tyler can say to the auditor's office, I need to go elsewhere, this is what's happening. Not coming to us and say, I can't be here. And so therefore, I like the idea that the auditor has some ability to say something to Tyler, yay, nay, or whatever.
Well, I don't think that changes any. I mean, if something happened up in the treasurer's office, I would certainly hope that the treasurer could come down and say, we have a situation, or the recorder, or whoever it's going to be. I don't think that changes the interaction. I just think that changes the line of responsibility from a supervision standpoint, when we're doing performance reviews as we come to the future. And we all just got these, so we're pretty available to communicate with from a cell phone aspect if there's something that's major. But again, it just goes right back to like the FOIA situation, and we can handle this fairly easily by a phone call if we need to. But again, it's the interaction and the rapport that he's already built with the folks within the building. That shouldn't change.
I don't disagree with that part, with the interaction with people in the buildings, but I'm just saying, somebody comes in and says they need Tyler, and Tyler, I don't know where he is now. So if there's something happens, there's what I'm saying, he has no accountability, that he needs to report to the auditor in any way then.
Yeah, so I think we can fix that fairly easily. Tyler's gonna get us set up with calendar on Outlook, he doesn't have that today. We can put that on Outlook very quickly and easily, we can schedule his time. That's a pretty easy fix. We all have the access to a calendar, and that could be a shared calendar for Tyler, for example. But it gives us the ability to he can schedule his projects on that, he can, if he needs needs to go over to public health, you can put that on the calendar as well. So it's quick and easy. We all have phones now, so we can see where's that, what's going on. And again, it doesn't change that.
Tracking device on you, huh, Tyler?
No, not at all. That's, yeah.
I mean, there's situations that come up, he has to go immediately.
Pretty much every day.
Yes, that's what I.
Exactly. And it's not in this building, it's in another building, right?
Yep.
Sick time, vacation time.
Pardon?
Sick time, vacation time. Who is he supposed to report that to?
The folks that he reports to.
I just didn't know what changed. I mean, I don't understand. Is there something that we're not doing properly with the maintenance guy? I mean, is there complaints?
No, that's not the issue at all. The issue is because his job description has changed and he has more diverse responsibilities, is allowing the supervisors, just like we do with the IT folks again, to be able to manage this individual on a more broad scale.
Which is, he's handled every one of those tasks, because those tasks were given to him more and more, and that was in the past. You received more things to do in the past, and you've kept up on them pretty well.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yep.
And a lot of times, Tyler, if he's somewhere and I gotta find him, I pick up the phone, I call him, he's like, hey, we got an issue, that's what we do.
That doesn't change anything. Treasurer could do that, the auditor,
We all do it.
the recorder, they can still do that. You can still do that, it's just changing the line of responsibility. And again, it goes back to the change in the job description. We just gave them a pay increase because the job description changed.
I have nothing further to say.
I look at it, if Tyler has to leave for a personal reason, for some reason,
Right.
I don't think that he needs to be calling all of us.
Oh, I don't think that's at all. I could-
Well, this is what it's leading towards. So, there's somebody in the courthouse that needs to know where he is on an emergency type basis.
Which is, he does
Any
report
type
to me
basis.
when he has to leave early or if something come up, all of a sudden he reports to me.
Let me ask the department heads that are here specifically, has there been issues or anything like that ever come up?
Yeah. I mean, if we need them, and that way I don't see them around here, I'll just go to the auditor's office and say, hey, I need Tyler. Okay, I'll call him. You guys aren't here every day, so if something like that happened, I mean, I get the idea of calling, but I don't have one of those phones. I didn't get one of those phones.
You have a phone in your office,
But I have a
right?
phone in my office, yes, I do.
Or 3 of them, so somebody can call.
So if I have a toilet that backs up, and Tyler's not in the vicinity, and I need to know where to find him or who's gonna back that up, I would have to call the chairman rather than walking over Robbins and say, my toilet's backed up.
No, not at all.
I would have to find out where he's at somehow.
Yes.
Well, and if he doesn't call, like, answer his phone, because our first call in an emergency is gonna be Tyler. He's gonna be the one that,
If he's not
is-
answering.
Yeah, but I think having a point person in the courthouse is just very valuable, because the auditor's office is open during business hours, and they always know where Tyler's at. And I think in these emergent situations, that is, more valuable for Robin to continue to oversee Tyler.
Well, fortunately now the county attorney's office is open as well, so the same logic would go that he could report to the county attorney, right?
I'm not understanding what you're referencing.
He could technically report that case to anybody, but again, you have a telephone, so all
But
that's
I mean-
changing is the direct supervision. The interaction is not changing. If your toilet is backed up, your toilet is backed up. He's the point person.
Well,
But it doesn't have to go through the auditor. The auditor does not have to say, okay, yeah, I need to call Tyler.
Well, in that case, I absolutely, the county attorney has a lot of obligations, and the assessor, we don't stay in our office all the time. Nate goes out and, assesses properties. I go up to court and am not available during certain hours of the day, whereas Robin is pretty regularly in her office. She is the keeper of the records. So no, I don't think the county attorney's office should be overseeing
I just
him,
rhetorical
but
comment, yes, I understand. However, to your point, there are 3 people in your office, there are 3 people in her office, there are 2 people in your office, there are 5 people in your office. If somebody needs Tyler, we can find him. I'm pretty darn sure he's not gonna get lost.
I just like that it's convenient because it's one person, it's Robin.
Basically, that's what we're doing already. We know where to go. I don't understand why it has to be changed.
What's the code say about who is responsible for the courthouse? I know goes beyond just the courthouse, but isn't the auditor is responsible for the courthouse
No.
In
maintenance?
our absence, yes. In the past, we have given that authority to the auditor.
Let me
When
just read.
supervisors are not here, she is in charge.
I don't know the code, I'm just
Iowa
asking.
code very specifically says the Board of Supervisors are responsible for the courthouse, and they can appoint the auditor as custodian of the courthouse. But the supervisors are ultimately responsible.
That is true, and that's something we have done in the past, so it's, in our past, we have made that decision. In our absence, the auditor's office, the auditor is in charge of the courthouse while we're absent from this building.
And if you're curious, I have 4 examples of where that is the case. Iowa Code 331-502 talks about the auditor's responsibilities. So there are 4 examples here from a legislative standpoint. The courthouse is ultimately charged to the supervisors. The auditor manages the courthouse at the discretion and the direction of the supervisors.
And which is our practice and which we did pass, and I agree with you according to the code. What we have done, you're changing completely what we have voted on in the past.
And is that a bad thing, that we change?
I'm not saying change is bad. Some changes are good.
I guess time for my chime in here. I read code too. It does say that. Typically, it's given to the auditor at our discretion, our super
Direction.
recommendation, whatever. I personally like the idea of predominantly Tyler's duties are here in the courthouse on this property, maybe across the way. I mean, he's got his maintenance garage, everything over there. It's central located right here, local. On occasion, we've chosen to give him a little extra duties by doing some pesticide spraying and things like that to utilize his skill set and whatnot. But things locally here, I don't know why things can't just blend together. I mean, if something's going on at the EM building or the public health or stuff like that, if things could just blend together, give us a holler, give us a call, let us know what's going on. Either way, but as it's been brought up, there's only a few days that I haven't been here recently, but normally there's not a supervisor here all the time, day in, day out type thing. Where the auditor office, or her deputy would be here the majority of the time type thing, so. I like the idea of a joint communication. I mean, we're a small county. I mean, we're not like we gotta drive clear across Timbuktu to get somewhere. I mean, if you gotta go over there, you go. We got new phones. You can give us a holler and give us a call. If it's courthouse related, I'm not ready to pull that authority back from the auditor. I mean, she's here every day. I'm not ready to pull that away from her, so I think if it's courthouse related, go to the auditor.
Yep.
If it's other building related, let us know. Let us know about the courthouse. I mean, if something falls in,
Okay.
I'd like to know.
Yep.
That's my take of it. I mean, if it's, what's the adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
Type
That's
thing.
pretty much what I'm doing now. I mean, I report to you guys and the auditor's office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems to be working out.
And I have no problem with how it's been handled. You told me about the steps over here. We got them fixed. It took a little while, but we got new steps over there. I think things are working.
Yep. We do.
Disagree.
There's been a motion and a second made to do that. I'll bring that up for vote by roll call. Everybody's clear on what the motion was?
I think I'm confused now, but go ahead.
You could restate what the motion is, so everybody's aware of what it is.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion was made to change the supervisory roles of Tyler Freeze to the supervisor versus the auditor. And then it was seconded for discussion. We've had discussion. So I think that's the motion that is the question right now. Everybody in favor of that motion indicate.
I didn't do a roll call.
Yeah, roll call, I'm sorry.
White,
Yes,
Lindy,
I
I'm confused.
misspoke. I wanna leave the way it is.
I was gonna say,
Voting
You
no.
wanna leave it the way
I'm
it is?
voting
'Cause
no, yes.
You made the motion to
Yeah.
do that. Okay, so,
No,
would you please, okay. Lindy,
No,
Deidre,
yes.
that motion failed, so. But Tyler, I guess moving forward, if you could communicate with all of us,
Yep, I can do that.
I mean, there's only a few people here, I think we can get that done,
No problem.
okay? Item number C, approval of new Historic Preservation Board of Commissioners. There's been a motion, or some actions taken by the Historic Preservation Board to add 2 commissioners to that list. I do not know either one of the people listed. I'd entertain a motion to adopt their recommendations and move forward with those appointments on that.
who are the two?
I don't have their name right.
Nancy Amos
It should be in your-
and Kathy McCoy.
I didn't remember them, I saw the packet.
Yeah.
I make that motion. That we approve these 2 additional members.
Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor of appointing those 2 people, Nancy Amos and what was the other name?
Kathy McCoy.
Kathy McCoy, to the commission, indicate by aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will notify the chair of that commission and let him know that that went forward, so. Under number 7, other business, item number A, I feel has already been addressed. Yeah, Iowa Public Information Board status on large requests for information. Is there anything additional to that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Excuse me, Ted. We missed one. Item D.
item D was for
Under
Bill
new
Crawford.
business.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, discussion, and possible appointment of Bill Crawford on eminent domain. There's a vacancy on the eminent domain commission. Bill Crawford has expressed, an interest on that. I understand Bill Crawford has some experience with eminent domain, in the past, so he knows that process.
Yeah, but what I was dealing with was eminent domain and not eminent domain. So I hope you mean eminent domain, because I'm not interested in eminent.
It's a good clarification.
I think Bill is pointing out a typo error there. But, I think we all know what we're talking about there.
I make a motion, we approve him.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion to appoint Bill Crawford to the commission for review. All in favor?
Under the people owning real estate, I believe is the heading for that. There are different headings, I think you're under the one that says who owning real estate and know about it.
I thought it was agricultural.
Well, agricultural real estate.
Yeah, it is. I think, that would be a good fit with somebody that's been through that process, knows that process, so. All in favor of that, motion and second indicate by aye.
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 Aye. Right, welcome aboard, Bill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Condolences.
Condolences.
But
I
it
will
is spelled
put-
right there.
So you'll fill his name in that? Keep that roster going. Okay, now 7A, Iowa Public Information Board status on large request for information. Is there anything more that needs said on that one?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I thought it been pretty well addressed there. Letter B, follow up on Iowa Governmental Health Care Plan, IGHCP insurance. There was a question, where are the self-funding funds and reserve funds being held? We can refer that to the,
Well, the IGHCP administrative fund is held over there at Two Rivers. And that's for them to pay our premiums, their claims from. So that is where it's at.
So, with that being said, would there be an advantage for that being an IPATE? Kelly, do you know?
I don't,
That's a totally different, this is totally.
well, what I do with our public funds, and I don't know if that would be different than your health insurance.
Shouldn't be, IPATE is basically the same banking situation overall, right?
They would have to,
Withdraw if needed.
the insurance company, I think, is the one that set that account up.
It is.
So it's their account, it's our money, but it's their account.
I understand that, but I do know that other counties put their money in IPATE.
So I've never researched it, so I couldn't tell you.
So that's why I was asking the question, to make sure that we had still good access, but a better rate on our dollars. Because we're gonna get a better rate at IPATE than we are at the local banks, for the most part. For what you've shown us.
so is that something that, could be explored out?
I could say something to Anita, I'd have to get her Robin's contact with the representative that does our,
It's there
Insurance.
because this is what our insurance company takes. It's set up by them. It's an administrative account through IGHCP formed out. This is the account that it pays our claims for the people that are being provided by this health insurance. And it's a fund for just that.
Understand.
It's been that for ever at Two Rivers, and they pull from that, because they used to be Two Rivers as well.
Well, Two Rivers is gonna be non-existent here in about
Yes. I
3
know.
weeks.
But they've been bought out, and I've been talking to them about that, and I was gonna talk to the Pilot Road to see what a better rate we can get on the dollars that are sitting there for interest.
And that's why I suggest we could also look at IP, because again, the same situation with most likely a better interest rate for us. That bill that went through the legislature died, so we don't have to worry about dollars that are invested in IPATE at 25%.
Two Rivers.
We are.
Who bought up Two Rivers?
I don't know. It starts with M. I don't even know. I never
It's
even
First
heard.
Mid.
First Med.
First Mid.
Is it First Med? They
Illinois.
said something yesterday to me about it, but all I heard was an M.
Okay. So anyway, that's gonna be non-existent in about 3 weeks here, so I think we should look at our opportunities to look at IP as well. Because that's a fairly significant amount of money, and anything we can do to increase our interest rates
How
is
much is it?
to the benefit of us.
To the
How much is
benefit of us versus.
There's over $200,000 in that account.
So could, you guys can
Work together.
look at it or explore it a little bit.
And I think that is the only thing under that one, Chad, to work through.
Okay. I had a listing on my copy here of zoning, but there wasn't anything, was there any zoning issues that needed addressed at that point?
You mean planning and zoning, or?
My penciled in thing is just zoning, that I had heard that somewhere and I put zoning in there, but no,
I
to
know
my
that-
knowledge, nothing exists under that.
Not from this conversation, but I know planning and zoning had a meeting this week. Or we're talking about it anyway. But probably. Yeah, I
Might have
don't know.
been where, so. Any other business? Hearing none, we will move into number 8, the public comment section of that. As normal.
I have a question, if no one has a comment. I'm sorry. I just wanted to know
comment?
a question. Can I ask a question?
Typically set up for, if you have a question, we could go specifically. Is it something that could go specifically, or is it a general?
I would like to know if the budget included anything concerning reimbursing Deputy Lopez.
Any response to that?
Not for me.
None.
So that you haven't made a decision, or it wasn't included in the budget?
There's nothing in the budget, to my knowledge, for that. Next.
The meeting tonight, the public hearing, is that upstairs? I think on the paper you sent out, it says the courtroom.
That is scheduled for the district courtroom.
Okay, I wasn't sure. The agenda that I saw didn't state where it was. Okay, it just wasn't stated where it was. Thank you.
Three things actually. Reference what you discovered in light of the fact there's been no requests from New London, Winfield, Wayland. These are all different incorporated towns in Henry County. They don't make a request for any funds or anything. I'm sorry that Katie Reuter's not here today, but she was thinking along me with the thing on Geode. The trails in Geode offer a lot of exercise, bicycle, walking, hiking. And yes, I agree, it is a state park. But like Steve said, the biggest share of it is in our county. And it'd be wonderful to have more funds put in there so more people would utilize the state park down there. I'm glad to see Steve wanted it tabled because there needs to be more thought and input into that. With our tax dollars, everybody in the county pays for it. So that's one thing. Another thing on my mind, I remember a few weeks ago, Steve would not even vote on a appointed free person to serve on one of the boards in the county because they had the same last name. But this is no finger pointing at anybody on the board, but somebody does not recluse himself when we vote for thousands and thousands of dollars to go to the city of Mount Pleasant. And that just bothers me a little bit. That's all I got on my mind. Thank you.
You know, I don't know if you guys watch the videos or not, but I think you should so you know what we see. So back to that February 12th when Mr. Leafy came in here, it didn't seem like you were surprised at all. And you let him go on for 12 minutes with his diatribe. And then when he's leaving, Chad, you asked him 3 times. He said, to make sure that's recorded on the video, it's very well known Mr. Leafy had made arrangements with the court system to distance himself from certain cases. 3 times you repeated that. And then Mr. Leafy said, to quote Lindeen, the public doesn't know. And so the appearance is, to me, that you two guys, and Mr. Leafy had a pre-plan going in to get Abby Leafy in the attorney's office. But anyhow, another thing, Robin's office held a public test of the voting machines. And it's not the machines we don't trust, and I'll remind you, if you don't remember, Joseph Stalin once said, it's not the people that vote that count, it's the people that count the votes. And Mr. Leasty did say in his statement, we all want transparency. And it's interesting, that's exactly what the Watchman's videos do, transparency. But they don't like it when the Watchmen expose the fraud and corruption going on in here. They want to leave that the same. So anyhow, you know, it's not the Watchmen that broke the trust. It's you people that made trust just another four-letter word. And I looked up in the service provided by the Henry County Board of Supervisors is to fill vacancies in office of elected officials except their own board. And you two guys didn't do that, White and Lindeen. I think you two guys ought to pay for the special election out of your own pocket if you can't follow the rules. And that's as pleasant as I can be. Please don't be afraid to correct me where I'm wrong, and I'll reserve the balance of my time.
I have one other thing about this. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry. I have one other comment about when you're continuing to do the FOIA request process. I understand the fact of each department and where it belongs, that particular FOIA. I also just have concerns about making sure that the supervisors are aware of FOIA requests. So is that something that can be CC'd by each department so that they're aware when the request comes in and also when the information is pushed back out to whoever requested it? So whatever that process looks like that you guys finalize, I think that's important so that you know which ones are followed up on and which ones aren't, versus just the department saying, I had one and I sent the information out. I think you need to be aware of the request and what that was, because that can also give you a tip of what the public is asking for or potential issues you need to be aware of, I guess.
I think that's how we're talking about the central point of,
Okay.
you know, whether that central point will include one of us here, you know, on this board or not, so.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else? Yeah, but I want to give everybody else the opportunity before a second. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, on the FOIA request, I looked it up earlier when he was talking about the charges, so on and so forth. Most places, the first 2 hours are free. And was that included in your motion today, or I didn't hear the first 2 hours free?
We did not talk about that, but Steve and I have specifically talked about the first 2 hours free, and we can put that as a footnote at the bottom of our request.
Okay,
You're correct.
I looked at the Iowa code on several different ones. It cost 20 cents a sheet.
And that's my fault for not mentioning that, but Steve and I did very specifically talk
Okay.
about the first 2 hours.
And this should never be turned into a money-making type of thing. We want to cover the costs.
I understand when you have, like Steve said, you got one been going on how many weeks? Yeah.
I just want to remind everybody that Tuesday is the last day to pay taxes without penalty, your March payment, and do not rely on postmark.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was recently talked about, so, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've got a question. Abby Leakey says she's the acting county attorney. Can she
comment?
just, pardon me?
A comment or a question?
Oh,
I mean,
can I go on?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, she says she's acting county attorney. Can she just write a check to Carlos Lopez for attorney fees? You know, you two guys said you wanted to pay him, but then you backed out. And you agree that it ought to come out of the county attorney's budget, so can't she just pay that? That needs to be taken care of.
Thank you.
I believe there's an Iowa code referencing payment of reimbursement fees. That's all I'll say on that.
Any further
No, sir.
actions? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You got a meeting, I know.
Yes,
So, second, and all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.